Last thing we're covering, just as a quick review, is how to evaluate functions. So first thing you need to do, we're going to go, there are 3 different functions here. We've got our f function, our h, and our j. So that's important to note. You want to make sure you match the correct name. So on part A, we've got h of -5, so we're going to be using this function right here. And what we're doing is we're taking -5 and we're putting it in for x. So I'm going to replace that x with -5 and then a +1. So this will give you the absolute value of -4, because you do the inside first, so -5 plus 1 is -4. And if you recall, absolute value tells you the distance from 0. So that means we're just going to have a +4, because its distance is always positive. So this number will always be positive. And that's it. Let's go ahead and do the next one. So f, we're doing f this time, so we're using this function right here. And this time we're placing 4 in for x. So we're going to go ahead and we've got 4 plus 2 over 3 times 4 plus 4. I like to evaluate the top first, so 4 plus 2 is 6. Then I'm going to evaluate the bottom. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 4 is 16. And then we simplify. So 6 and 16 are both divisible by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and divide those by 2, and we'll make sure that I actually divided everything down. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, 16 divided by 2 is 8. Now 3 and 8 don't have any common factors or numbers that you can divide both of them by, so you are done. Now here's why it might get a little more complicated. Sometimes they'll throw little tricks in like this where there aren't numbers right here. It stays with an x, but they'll like have negatives or like put -x plus 3 or whatever. Same idea. Okay. Now I'm actually going to skip C for a second. I'm going to do D first. So for D, we're doing the absolute value of, we're doing the absolute value function, so this h function. But we're going to put -x plus 3 in for x. So we'll get the absolute value of, I'm going to go ahead and put it in parentheses, -x plus 3. And then we got the +1, all that's absolute value. Now, the only reason I need to keep parentheses is if we're multiplying something, so we have to distribute a number in, which we don't have that. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that as -x plus 3 plus 1. I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms, so right here. Oops, probably should switch over to pen. There we go. And we get -x plus 4. Now, usually you think, okay, absolute value always switches things to positive. We don't know what x is. We don't know what that variable is. So we actually can't switch it out because x could be a negative number. And if you do a negative of a negative, that means it's actually already positive. So you actually do not touch anything inside the absolute value if there's a variable in there. So your answer is just the absolute value of -x plus 4. Let's go to letter C now. So letter C, I wanted to skip because this time it's j of x. So j of x is just x squared minus 7x, but there's a negative in front. So literally what that means is you're going to put a negative in front of x squared minus 7x, the entire function. And then I just distribute that in. So you get -x squared plus 7x. Guess what? You are done. Let's just do a couple more of those weird ones, or just one or two, I don't know. Yeah, 2 more. 2 more sounds great. Okay, same thing. So this time we're doing the f function right here, but we're putting x minus 1 in for x. So on the top, I have x minus 1 plus 2. And on the bottom, I have 3 times x minus 1 plus 4. Once again, the parentheses are not necessary if there's nothing being multiplied. So that top one, I actually can just get rid of the parentheses. But this bottom one, I have to distribute that in. So we have 3x minus 3 plus 4. In both cases, let's go ahead and combine like terms. Both in the top, and when I say cases, I'm talking about the numerator and denominator. So I have x, -1 plus 2 is 1. And then 3x, and negative 3 plus 4 is 1. Once again, you are done. All right, let's do one more. Because why not? Seems fun. So for this one, we're putting x plus 1 in for any x we see in the function for j. And that means we'd have x plus 1 squared minus 7 times x plus 1. Now, common mistake here. We do need to expand this out. Common mistake is people think you distribute exponents. No, you only distribute if it's multiplication. So x plus 1 would need to be written out as x plus 1 times x plus 1. Put little equal signs. I am going to go ahead, hopefully this doesn't throw you off. I'm going to go ahead and distribute this through though. So we have negative 7x minus 7. Now that we have this x plus 1, what you're going to do is we're going to FOIL. It's just a fancy way of distributing. It's really just distributing, okay? So I'll do x times x, which is x squared. X times 1 is x. 1 times x is x. 1 times 1 is 1. And then we still have our minus 7x minus 7. Now I'm just going to combine like terms like crazy. So like terms, for instance, we have all these x's. Those will go together. And then also, probably should be in the correct. There we go. The 1 and the negative 7 will go together. So we have x. Oh, I keep doing that. There we go. X squared. So x, so this is just a 1x and a 1x. So that's 2 minus 7 is negative 5x. And then 1 minus 7 is negative 6. There is the answer.